Whoever gives you aid controls your life.
Rwanda has a history in Congo. Congo, I feel, is like, it's not even a country anymore. As heartbreaking it is, it's just a land full of minerals that so many different people have their hands into that pot.
If you looked at the list of 100 entities who are interested in the minerals in the Congo, Rwanda would come as 100th. Our problem is not minerals. Ours is about security. We really want peace. We want peace in Congo because it translates into peace for us.
If you were sitting privately with President Felix right now, what would you tell him?
I would tell him I wish he wasn't president of that good country. If you looked at the list of 100 entities, 100 from wherever, China, Europe, US, Canada, and so on, including all of us in the region, who are interested in the minerals in the Congo, Rwanda would come as 100th. We would come at the bottom. If you ranked them 1, 2, 3, this, but the situation is such that it has been made to look like the ones least concerned with the minerals have been the ones accused for the entire problem of these 100 who get billions and billions and leave nothing behind. So Rwanda has come to be the ones to absorb it. So that is
To absorb all the blame.
all the blame. Because those that whole line up to the 99th are the people who have the power of the media, of everything. And for them, they're also benefiting from the bad politics of Congo. And most of these people probably have a share in the companies formed together with Tshisekedi.
President Felix.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is one.
Mm.
So our problem is not minerals. It has nothing to do with minerals. Ours is about security. And once we are not assured of our security and long term, we can't be thinking about minerals in that situation. No, that would be the last thing on our minds.
Mm.
Now, the second problem that combines with that, because of that history we said of the people who, of the Congolese of Rwandese origin, but carved out by the border, the governments in Kinshasa all the time use this pretext and say, one, first of all, they say they want to get rid of these people. And this came with this FDLR, those who committed genocide, went to Congo 30 years ago. They work with politics and politicians in DRC. They go against these, they single out the Tutsis in Eastern Congo. And they cause them problems, but they want to cause them problems and eventually cause problems to Rwanda. Now, these are things we have discussed with everyone, whichever government that has come into Congo since after Mobutu.
So that includes Kabila, the one that you've helped get into power, and his son.
And even Tshisekedi and Felix.
What does Felix say? Like, and I know publicly he calls you Hitler and he says all these crazy things.
I think he has a genocide ideology like
Do you think so? He's that extreme?
I think so. He is.
Have you spoken to him privately?
I have spoken to him like 100 times before these problems.
Was there any common ground? Like was there any?
Yeah, we discussed even when he became president. By the way, I don't mind how he became president. He was not elected both times. The first time he was handed over power by
Joseph.
Yes, there's no question about it. The second, he just declared himself, and that was it, and told everybody to shut up, and that's what happened.
Okay.
So, but that's not my problem. It is a
I
problem
think Africa has bigger problems than getting to democracy. For now.
But when you look at, let's go back to UN a bit again. The UN has been there now for about 24 years, has been in Congo. UN. Even currently it is there. They have had about 17 to 18,000 peacekeepers, so-called, in that place from different countries. Well, some from Latin America, others from North Africa, others from Asia, they are all over. They have spent, if you calculate the amount of money spent on that mission over that year, over that period of 24 years, is close to 40 billion. Now, the question number one is, what did they actually come to do? To keep peace? Which peace is there? To bring peace? Which peace have they brought? To solve the problem concerning Rwanda of security of these FDLR that have lived there for the last 30 years? Nothing.
So why are they there?
The only thing they did relating to this, they have over time repatriated some FDLR and their families.
Back to Rwanda?
Back to Rwanda. It's on record. It's recorded. The rest, I don't know.
So why are they there, in your opinion?
This is the whole thing. This is the crookedness of the whole international system we are talking about.
So you
I
think
can't answer.
So essentially, there's so many, as you said earlier, there's so many hands in the pot when it comes to Congolese minerals that they.
So many.
So the and they're non-governmental hands, yes, or governmental as well, both. Some smaller governments, but
it's
a lot
both.
of private companies. Yeah,
it's both. It's very much governmental, even those governments from outside. So they create something, UN peacekeeping force, humanitarian this, and then to cover up everything else that is being. So because when you ask, you say, yeah, we are helping the people in the camps. When they do this, you say, no, but you see, we put some FDLR on the trucks and carry them to Rwanda. This is what has cost 40 billion. Yes,
and on top of that, tens of thousands of lives as well.
Yes.
Like what the story.
But if you ask them, we say, what security did you bring to Rwanda concerning them relating to FDLR? There's nothing. That's why they are still there. That's why they were being brought into the country, those who were captured during this fighting just 2-3 days ago.
Yeah, I heard that the last few days there's a general that was part of the.
That is the one I told you who killed my own aunt.
Which I didn't know she was also royalty.
Yeah, she was. She's a cousin sister to my mother.
Okay, so based on what you've said so far, I try to always kind of put myself in your shoes. Obviously, it's a lot harder than it sounds. But your solution would be to support a group that could either create a security buffer zone on the border.
Let me tell you this. We have been demanding for years, and we'll keep doing so until we get it. Our borders, this time and particularly with DRC, must be secure from these people. And the world knows about and has ignored. There's no question about it.
So they've essentially left you no choice.
That's what it means. And we have, but by the way, let me say something else. This fighting that started 3 years ago did not start with Rwanda. Those guys who started the fighting did not come from Rwanda.
You're talking about M23.
M23. Yeah. Their problem was there in 2012. So the problem came back 10 years after. it means in between, nobody addressed their problem, neither Kinshasa nor anybody else. And they are the ones who started the fighting. The way it is brought, the way Rwanda is brought into it, is by saying, these are Tutsis. It's like you wanted to finish them one way or the other, either by sending the entire group to Rwanda to live there and leave us alone, leave Congo, or kill them and finish them. So that didn't happen. So making it difficult to get rid of them into Rwanda or to kill them entirely, Rwanda is the one that made it impossible. So we should be blamed for that. Yeah.
One question I asked as I did my homework is, I'm like, why would the president, from the outside, and I think you'd agree, is that it looks very evident that Rwanda's supporting M23. And I'm saying this myself, so you're not saying it.
I wouldn't even run away from. It depends on what you see. Why sometimes we have been vague and so on. I'll tell you this.
I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love you to tell me. And I think I know why as well.
You see, if they keep saying, "Are you in Congo?" and I say yes, that becomes
they blame you for everything.
The only problem, and that is the end.
Exactly. That's what I learned.
So this one, so it even has legal implications. They see, he even said it. And the other problems, why Rwanda could have gone there or why they could have done this, all those problems are forgotten. The only problem is, why are you in Congo?
And they blame everything that's happening in Congo. It's been happening for decades with all these different groups fighting, all these different countries with their hands in Congo. Everything's gone because Rwanda said that small country with 13 million people said they have troops, or they have not troops, sorry, they're supporting M23.
All the minerals that have been worth billions and billions, they say, you see, the whole money was taken by Rwanda. For us, we are...
Yeah, that's what I learned. I was really confused on
it. No, that's the reason.
Because you're a very direct person, so you're always very honest, very open, very direct. Your team.
I tried even on that to be direct. Because I said, Rwanda has taken defensive measures. It's up to anybody to interpret whether that means I went into Congo, or I'm very close, or I'm...
But they want that soundbite.
They want that soundbite.
Which I don't. I'm intentionally trying not to get that soundbite.
I can't give it to them.
I don't exactly because it's just a very. Honestly, it's a very unethical way of really having a discussion. Instead of trying to understand the issue, you try to get the soundbite, so you get the clicks, and it's just a very disingenuous way of having those discussions.
Yes, that's so. Otherwise,
I like when they ask you, "Is there Rwandan troops in Congo?" I don't know. Like, you're the president. How do you not know? I was like, I don't know many things.
Many things I don't know. Including why somebody would be asking me that question when he knows the truth.
Exactly. So, but what is the solution? Like for me, what always drives me to have these discussions is I always try to find solutions. I'm a bit naive because I simplify very complicated problems. But sometimes simplification helps you get some progress. So when you look at Congo, how can we solve it? Like, can it be solved?
It can be solved. Even if it wouldn't be solved in a perfect manner, but it can be solved at least to give everyone peace. Let me start with what it is now. Now, what is needed is for parties involved and others who want to support to stop the fighting, have a ceasefire. 2, it is to find a process that resolves political issues peacefully. And that will require the leaders of Congo to take the bull by its horns and accept the reality. And say, I must talk to these Congolese opposed to me. I must listen to them and what are their grievances. Even if they picked out of 10 grievances and they picked 6 and said, okay, on these ones we agree. On the other 4 we don't agree. That's progress. Now, 3, they must recognize the security concerns of Rwanda and address them because they are based in Congo, and in fact, they've been associated with the Congolese government. So there must be recognition of that. Now, the rest would come under that. Even if we got a minimum on the 3 or 4, ceasefire, political concerns addressed of the Congolese, I can come to the format later on, if that is. Then security concerns of Rwanda, they are not going to be negotiated.
So, but what is President? If you tell this to President Felix, what does he say? Like, he has no incentive to.
He keeps saying it publicly. He says he will never talk to these ones fighting him. He has to finish the problem militarily.
But why?
I can't be responsible for what is in his head or not there. I can't be responsible for that. I really don't know. I can only say what but even those countries that have interests in Congo, it's their right to have interests there. They should also find that their interests would be served better by solving these problems and in this manner.
What do you think of this potential solution? You're kind of taking it from Trump's playbook with Ukraine. So President Trump is like, hey, I'll protect you, Ukraine. I'll help you reach peace in a way that favors you to a certain level. But in return, I want access to your minerals. Couldn't the Congolese government do deals like this? Say, go to Europe, go to the US, say, we'll go to Rwanda, go to different countries that are involved in one way or another. Say, let's do a deal. M23 lays down their arms. We do a deal. We'll remove the FDLR from your border, and we'll do a business deal with the minerals in Eastern Congo. Okay. And then they go to the US, give us security guarantees with all these different militias and stuff. So they go, they stop fighting, and all these different private companies that are weaponizing them, get them out of the way, and you'll have rights to the mines in that territory. That seems like
sounds interesting. Maybe it would address the problem. As long as one of those things you have mentioned is about somebody credibly guaranteeing that security concerns of Rwanda will be addressed and on a durable basis. The rest, that for me, I pick that one first, and then the rest is I'm open for discussion. Yeah.
And you've met many world leaders. You've met Putin. You've met Xi Jinping. Different US presidents.
I've ever met, yes, even President Trump.
Trump as well. I think it was in Davos.
Davos,
yeah. Has that idea ever been discussed with any leader?
No.
Okay.
So please try and raise it. With these leaders.
It could be interesting
I
to
was
discuss.
interested in pursuing it.
Yeah, I think the deal that's happening in Ukraine. And what is their take on for Xi Jinping, someone you've met on more than one occasions? What's his perspective on what's happening in Africa? I think we talk a lot about
there are
the West.
many perspectives. I'm actually impressed by his perspectives. He's been engaged in Africa. He's been mainly economically. They don't get involved in the politics of countries except economic, which again, the benefits of that will depend on how the very countries are managed. If it is a country managed well and has deals with China, they benefit. If it is a country not managed well, I don't know what happens. Because when you've heard that some countries are heavily indebted and so on and so forth, well, I would ask the countries, where did you put the money? But otherwise, is anybody expecting China to go around throwing money at people? No.
But they're not too interested in peace. Have they tried? Have they? Is it Chinese efforts for reach peace?
They cannot. It can't be that they are not interested in peace when they are making such investments.
Okay, so they're interested. Okay,
yeah.
But is there active efforts from China to try to reach peace in Congo, for example?
They have not been involved with matters of Congo.
It's too complicated.
Even for other countries, that have countries, have problems like where we are involved, like in Central African Republic or Mozambique. And I haven't heard of China suggesting that it should be resolved like this or like that. But they are busy doing business deals and with these governments.
When was the last time you spoke privately, if you can share, of course, to President Felix?
This must have been 2021.
Oh, wow. It's been a long time.
22? 22.
It's very long time.
22.
Oh, so you haven't spoken to him recently?
Yeah, actually, I think September 22.
Are you open to speak to him again?
I'm not opposed to speaking to him, but we have to be saying things that matter to the two countries and that are geared towards addressing the problems. I have no problem. But making deals with Tshisekedi is...
Making deals with what?
With Tshisekedi, with Felix?
It's very difficult.
It's the most difficult thing. The most... I am just challenging anybody. I want to see anybody who has made a deal with him and who would say, you are telling lies. I would want to see that. On the contrary, I have dealt with him. I know. You say you agree something, just as he steps out the door.
So it's an issue of leadership.
Out of the room. It's completely either forgotten, changed, or some we will say, no, we didn't say that.
So it's an issue of leadership.
Yes.
Well, we've tackled a lot of topics. I think the story of how you've rebuilt a country from scratch or below scratch is, a perfect symbol of hope for other African countries. Now, I hope Congo, Sudan, other countries go down a similar path because I know the atrocities that are going on there. And I also hope the world starts to pay attention to what's happening in Africa. Similar things, if 10% of what's happening in Africa happens in some Asian countries are similar, but in Asia or Europe or the US or Latin America, it'll be all over the news. Literally, your team told me yesterday there's dead bodies being burnt and eaten in Congo on a regular basis. I didn't know these things still exist. I thought those were ended 10, 20, 30 years ago.
They happen.
It's heartbreaking. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate being as open as you have been. And I hope, if we meet again, it'll be under different circumstances. And I hope that, even though that hope looks slim, that we see peace in Congo and long-lasting peace.
We really want peace. We want peace in Congo because it translates into peace for us. And so that we continue rebuilding our small country and that has had enough of suffering, more than enough. We can't be the ones who are looking for any trouble to take us back to those days.
If you were sitting, last question I want to end it with, if you were sitting privately with President Felix right now, what would you tell him?
I would tell him I wish he wasn't president of that good country.
Okay. For Mr. President, I really appreciate it.
Actually, I'm likely to, when next time I meet him, I will tell him that.
That person.
I promise, in person, directly.
I hope he changes. Like, if what you're saying is true, I hope he changes. I hope he becomes a bit more diplomatic.
It's terrible.
It's better for his country. It's better for him. It's better for, peace is better for him. Remember the president, Francis Kabila was shot by his bodyguard. Like, war is not good for anybody.
The father was called Laurent Kabila, Laurent. And then the father is, the son is Joseph.
Yeah. Laurent Kabila is the one that was shot.
Is the father.
That was Francis, my bad.
Yeah.
So war is bad for everybody. So I hope either
I
Philip.
don't know whether you have seen this about Felix, somebody, an Italian family person who, Felix spent many years in Belgium.
He was a taxi driver.
He was a taxi driver. He was many things of that kind, but even with a very bad reputation. The man who employed him, an Italian family, an old man now, who employed him, he was delivering. The man has a shop, a pizza shop, and Felix used to deliver. So when this old man heard that Felix had become president, he said, "Oh my God." He said, "This one?" Then he told the story. It was even written. I hope you can show it.
What was the story?
It was like, this guy who could not even do the job of delivering pizza.
How did he become
has
president?
become, I don't know.